Felicitations! This is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast you are listening to. Hello! Hello! Well, it is 1 week till my new book comes out. Embrace your weird, face your fears, and unleash creativity, y'all. It is out in 1 week, and I will be on book tour for 2 weeks after that. Well, more than 2 weeks. I have events from October 1st through October 19th. And by the way, I'm going to tell you about all of them right now because I want you to listen. Because I want to see you guys in person. So on October 1st, to kick the book tour off, I will be at Changing Hands Bookstore in Tempe, Arizona. On October 3rd, I'll be at Bookends in Ridgewood, New Jersey. On October 3rd and 4th, I will be at New York City Comic Con. On Thursday the 3rd, there will be a ticketed event at the Simon & Schuster booth, so just go by there in the morning to snag a ticket if you would like one of the 100 books I will be signing there. And the 4th, I have a panel, I believe, from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly when. And I will have a signing after that. You can purchase the book at New York City Comic Con and have me sign it. There is no signing fee. This is a promotional book signing only at NYCC. October 4th, I will be at St. John's Lutheran Church in Brooklyn. And then I'll get out of New York City. I will be flying then to Naperville, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. I have a signing at Community Christian Church. A lot of these places are churches just because they need to hold a lot of people and have a talk. And doing that in the bookstore is a little bit hard to have 100 people watching someone speak. So that's why they find these off-site kind of event places to talk. On October 6th, I will be flying to Boston. It'll be in Cambridge at Porter Square Books. I will have a signing in the afternoon. On October 7th, I will be flying to Raleigh, North Carolina. I will be at the James B. Hunt Library. And you can purchase in advance all these things if you go to FeliciaDayBook.com. A lot of these are ticketed events. So it's just basically the price of the book. On October 8th, I will be at Joseph Beth Booksellers in Cincinnati, Ohio. Woo, Ohio. October 10th, I will be at the Western Washington University Performing Arts Center in Bellingham, Washington. And that will be a super fun one. It's a big auditorium, so come hear me speak there. And on the 11th, I will be at University Temple Methodist Church in Seattle, Washington. That will be another speech and signing. And on the 12th, I will be at Powell's at Cedar Hills Crossing, not in Beaverton, not downtown. Oh, yeah, it's in Beaverton. So come to that one. It's the one I came to last time, I guess. And then on October 19th, I will be at Dynasty Typewriter at the Hayworth, signing and speaking in Los Angeles. So that will be the end of my tour, and I will be perhaps being propped up by a couple of people in the background because I am literally flying every day for almost 2 weeks straight. How do I do it? Well, I dry out. I dry the heck out, that's for sure. So it's going to be bad. My skin dries out really badly. Even if I read this article this week about how drinking water is not the best way to absorb hydration. It's actually better to drink like orange juice or milk or something like that if you really, really get hydrated. All the extra nutrients and stuff help you absorb it, and it sits in your stomach a little bit longer versus going straight through you. So mix it up. Probably not with the sugar stuff. I'm skeptical of Gatorade. I have no scientific basis for this, but it doesn't seem good for your insides. And no, I'm really excited to go on tour. This book has been a labor of love, y'all. A year of my life. Every single page I've agonized over, but I've also joyed over. That's a verb. Done some joy. So yeah. And I just want to again request that you pre-order if you can't come to an in-person signing. That would be really, the pre-orders really help make the New York Times bestseller list. This one's going to be a hard one to crack because things like, basically half those books have been on there for 2 years. It's only 10 books and it's a self-help category. So your support is really appreciated for that first week of sales. That really means a lot to me. And just to give you an impression of the book, I actually posted one of the exercises on Facebook because it is an interactive book, y'all. The more I talk about this book, I realize I just wanted to duplicate what I have online in a book form. And so I'll talk for a couple pages, and then there'll be a really fun or funny or kind of digging deep kind of question that you guys will write in yourself. Yes, I want you to write in the book. And I did an interview this week where the woman was like, well, I didn't want to write in it. I was like, that's the point. I want you to tear a page out. I want you to just use crayons. I want you to like highlight things and cross things out that you think are stupid that I wrote. Like this, I want to see trashed books. That's my goal, because the more freedom we have, the more rules we break, the more we can get, crack open that thing inside of us that we sat on and haven't allowed to get out our whole lives. That pressure to conform, to hide who we truly are, it doesn't help us at all. It helps us fit in with people who don't accept who we are. And why do we need to do that? So I guess the core of this book is creativity is important. The things that make you different are the things you should brandish with pride. And the work of creativity is the rewarding part. The end result is nothing that you should be concentrating on until after you finish your creativity. That's where a lot of our blocks come up. There's 100 funny illustrations in here, and I'm excited. Please let me know and leave a review if you like it next week. I will be updating the podcast one time before I leave, but this is it. This is the last week. All right. Big shout out to Sean Sandy Looky Look, who records, he has a wiki for this podcast, felicitations.fandom.com. Any of the books that I've recommended or talked about are in that wiki, and he is amazingly thorough. He also collects all the hashtag felicitations questions that you guys post on Twitter. So please, if you want me to answer a question, go and use that hashtag on Twitter, and I will get to it eventually, maybe. My last announcement before we get into the bulk of the episode is that Voyage to the Stars Season 2 premiered last week, September 16th. Episode 2 just got posted today. It is very funny, y'all. We have a new cast member, Kirsten Vangsness from Criminal Minds. We also have tons of guest stars. My favorite guest star was the first episode where Colton Dunn played a robot store owner. And I have to tell you, we had to leave the room because he was so weird and funny. So I don't know. I love doing this show. We have 26 episodes for this season. So check it out. Download it, rate and subscribe it, all that stuff. Voyage to the Stars, voyagetothestars.net. They're building out a new website there. And it's exciting. There's going to be a comic book out next year. So I'm so happy to be a part of this project. It really lets me get back to my creative roots. Okay, awesome. Let's see. So I am going to talk about this week some superficial stuff. Yeah, okay? I'm talking about the superficial stuff because it is yummy, and I've been, I'm not into that stuff like makeup and clothing and all this stuff, but I have to kind of get my appearance together because I have some acting things coming up after my book tour, and I have my book tour where I'll be taking hundreds of pictures with people, and I don't want to look like trash on the grams. And so I kind of tried to reboot my wardrobe, y'all, and I wanted to give a shout out to some things that I have loved the last couple weeks, starting with my skin. And this is something that's I am obsessed with my skin. You guys know it. I stay out of the sun. I don't smoke. I rarely drink. I try to get as much sleep as I can. And that's really been the worst thing that my child has done to me in the last 2 years is messed up my sleep because I could see the wrinkles emerging from around my eyes. I'm like, no, Calliope, I love you, but no. So I have been mixing it up a lot in the skin category. I have bought the most expensive stuff. I have bought drugstore stuff. I have tried everything. And recently, it got kind of bad. And so, especially because I was traveling to a lot of cons in a row. And so I started using like a lot of products on my skin. I started using serums, expensive serums like Kiehl's and Vintner's Daughter. Like this stuff is pricey. And I was noticing my skin was getting worse and worse. Like the more stuff I use on my skin, the worse it got. And I have exceptionally dry skin, so this is where I'm coming from. I hope everybody's like not if you're like dozing off, whatever, dude. Anyway, I just have the most dry skin ever. And so I can literally put coconut oil all over my skin and I will never break out. So just as a caveat to my recommendation that's about to follow, just listen to that. I am dry like the Sahara there. But, so I was getting so frustrated because I'm like, I'm doing everything that everyone says to do here. And yet I'm getting drier and drier. I'm seeing more and more lines on my skin, like especially around my eyes. I was just like, it was crinkledom. I would look close and it was the kind of enhance you do not want to look at. CSI, get away from my skin. So I got real upset and I just decided to, okay, I'm trashing all this stuff. I'm not using any more of this acid stuff on my skin. I'm not using this. I'm not using any of this expensive stuff that I bought. Korean products. And some of them smell great. And you'd think, yeah, this is working. And it was just getting worse and worse. Guess what I've done for the last 2 weeks? I've been slugging it. Yeah, that's a term, y'all. It's a term on Reddit. So Reddit, they have a skincare kind of area that I lurk a lot. I enjoy it. I also have a group I'm on Facebook that is a private group where ladies just post about their faces, okay? It's my only vanity, guys. And so slugging it is something that I looked up because I was just like, I have the driest skin. And it is where you take Aquaphor or Vaseline and put it over your products at night. So I only put it on my cheeks and under my eyes and stuff and around my eyes. I do not put it on my T-zone because my skin is, a little bit of a combination, but I don't want to, break out. The first week I did have a tiny of a breakout, and then it went away and got used to it. But I put the Aquaphor, because that's what I put on my baby's butt, over my products on my cheeks and around my eyes. And guys, it is night and day. When I went to Comic-Con, somebody put some stuff on my cheeks. I think I talked about this before, that burned my cheeks and it actually gave me some of those brown spots. And I was like freaking out. I was like, do I need to get a laser? The Aquaphor repaired a lot of all that stuff. Now, I also changed up my products too. I stopped doing serums and oils on my face, which ironically, you'd think, yeah, an oil would fix a face, right? No, sir. Oil was making it worse. It was drying my skin out. So I went to Lush, which is this awesome beauty products. They're out of Vancouver, I think, and they have bath bombs that they're really famous for, but their skin products are all natural and they're just simpler. And so I got this new cleanser called Ultra Bland, which is, by the way, it's made out of almond oil. And I put that on and I wipe it off at night to get my makeup off. And then I put this stuff Skin Drink over it, which is their kind of hydrating moisturizer. And then over that, around my eyes and my cheeks, I put Aquaphor. My skin is completely transformed. It is so good, y'all. It's so beautiful. Like, people stop me and they're like, you're glowing. And I'm like, I'm putting grease on my face. So anyway, again, if you break out, don't listen to my advice. Talk to your dermatologist. But I have to say that the fewer products I'm putting on, going back to more simple organic products, has made a world of difference. And I'm so surprised about the serums and the oils because those are the expensive things. And that really, I think, was the turning point and made my skin all crappy. Okay, enough about skin. Let's move on to clothing. I mean, listen, I'm going on book tour for 2 weeks. I carry one single carry-on. How do I do this? Well, I don't chance my pants that often. All right, listen. No, this is how I do it, y'all. I watch YouTube tutorials. Okay, what I have is, this is going to turn into a different kind of podcast. This is how I do only carry on for 2 weeks. I put my toiletries in one little small bag, and that's probably I shove as many as I can in that little bag that we're allowed of liquids. And I tend to buy more little samples of shampoo and stuff along the way if I need to, or I use whatever. If I go to a nice hotel, I just steal everything I can and stuff it in my thing. Then I have another bag of makeup that is dry makeup. And I have my earplugs, my face cover, my eye shades and all that stuff so I can sleep. I carry all the underwear. I'm not washing underwear in a sink, okay? I don't have time for that. So I do have about 15 pairs of underwear. But I use, that's not that much. That's not that much room. And then I tend to reuse my socks. I don't have sweaty feet, so I'm wearing old socks. If you meet me, those are probably 3-day-old socks, okay? Also, blue jeans should not be washed every day, y'all. Just look up blue jean care. You're not supposed to wear jeans. So what I do is I reserve one pair of jeans for only signings. So that is if you add up the cumulative effect of only signing jeans, the total number of hours that I wear those jeans is probably 3 or 4 days. Is that weird? I mean, listen, 3 to 4 days is standard for my jeans. But, I'm a clean person-ish. So for the shirts, though, the shirts are the thing that are complicated. I go polyester. I go to Forever 21. Nothing fancy because, A, fancy things wrinkle, and B, they are not washable in the sink. They'll never dry if it's a nice cotton. No, I want pure polyester. And the polyester, you can stick it in the sink overnight and it'll dry out if you just wash it with some regular body soap. That is how I do that. So for this book trip, I went to Forever 21 and Uniqlo, which is it's this great Japanese place that just has basic stuff. And they have a lot of like stuff like mock turtlenecks and t-shirts and stuff that I don't have to iron, because God forbid I iron anything. So I bought a bunch of those shirts, and then I got some new shoes. So my splurge was new Doc Martens, and I got the Averil, which is like a high heel Doc Marten shoe, which, by the way, I went in there just to get the new Doc Martens that have kind of a flexible top, because I love Doc Martens, but like they're just too like, they're inflexible. So I saw a pair on another person I know, and I was like, oh, are those Doc Martens with flexible tops? And she was like, yes, they are. So I went in to get those, but then I saw these ones with the high heels, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to 94 and get these. So I love them so much, and so I'm going to take those on book tour, and they are probably the biggest thing in my suitcase because they're pretty heavy, and I want to have a pair of sneakers to just kind of. So that's how I would do it, guys. So I have like 4 to 5 shirts that I can wear twice each that I wash. 2 to 3 pairs of pants. So I have one like special pair of pants that I only wear for signings, and then another one for regular jeans. And I might wash them. I'm not saying I'm going to be disgusting by the end of the tour, but I'm certainly going to be parsimonious with it. I have like something to sleep in, and then all my hair stuff, and that's it. It's actually pretty easy. I have a Kindle and a laptop, and I have a lot of writing to do. I also got a free sample at Sephora of Kat Von D stuff, and I've never used that stuff. I thought it was Dita Von Teese, but it's someone else, okay? So Dita Von Teese is not Kat Von D. But they have this amazing lipstick and tattoo eyeliner that it's like the paint-on tattoo eyeliner. Someone asked me, actually in one of the felicitations questions, hey, how do you get your eyeliner so straight? And I'm like, listen, it is all practice. You got to practice, practice, practice. But what I do is I'll do the eyeliner, and then I will cover it up with a angled brush with eyeshadow. So basically, if I do it crooked, I can always fix it with eyeshadow afterwards. That's my pro tip. All right, done. All that stuff is done. All right, moving on. Books. Oh my gosh. Okay, so last time I listed a couple books that I was going to read, and I actually ended up reading those books. And so number 1 is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. You guys have to pick this book up. It is incredible. The lead character is an asshole. Sorry for the language. She's kind of a jerk. She's very sarcastic. It is so funny, like literally laugh out loud lines. It's very anachronistic in that some of her language is very modern, and yet you're in this crazy science fiction necromancy world. It is so cool. And it turns into kind of like a 10 Little Indians kind of vibe toward the last half. So it's kind of like a couple of different books in one, but it all works. It all works. It's so good. I love it. And so in this lore, there are 9 houses of people. So it's kind of like your Harry Potter 4 houses, but it's 9 houses of different necromancy, and all the different houses have different abilities, right? So the first one is the emperor. The second one is like the soldiers. The third one is they're really fascinating in that they're not just like black and white. They're fun. I am a 6th house because the 6th house are the kind of clinical nerdy researcher types. And one of the main characters, not the lead, but one of the other characters is in the 6th house, and I think he's the coolest, one of the coolest in the book. So definitely check it out if you like any kind of just anybody. Anybody should check this book out. It is great. I also finished Harp of Kings by Juliet Marillier. Wonderful book, very nice, just very simple fantasy, really cool. I loved it. I read Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. And that was a great book in that it was very, very, again, it's like just world building that I haven't seen before. It's Russian, Slavic magic, and it all is about the saints. So it's actually really cool the way that the magic is built, but also how the magic evolves as you uncover more and more of this world. And it has kind of a romance thing going on. So, if you like Hunger Games or any of that stuff, this is a really cool alternative because the lead character is kind of a kick-ass, awesome girl, and the other characters are cool too. And, they kill a lot of people in this. So there's some dramatic twists and turns. It's very Kylo Ren kind of. And then the last book that I read this week was a nonfiction book that is so fascinating. It is very dense, y'all. So I wouldn't recommend it to a casual reader, but if you like anything, if you would like to understand psychology more, this is an amazing book. It's called Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. And this, just every single chapter has something fascinating about the way that we think. Essentially, this is he's a very famous psychologist, for decades, right? And there's this theory of the different ways we think. So we have this primal system 1 kind of brain that is kind of more animalistic, more emotion driven. And then we have our system 2, which is our higher kind of thinking, which kind of can warn us, hey, is this really the best thing you're going to do? Hey, it'd be fun to jump off this cliff. Let's actually think about how likely it would be that you hit one of those rocks. But, this book kind of revealed that it's a lot more subtle than that. And there are advantages to using both. I think, especially when I think of creativity, I think that it should come from a place of that more primal system because that's your authentic self. But at the same time, the idea that you need to deploy that higher thinking to be like, okay, yeah, sure, that impulse is great and that emotion is awesome, but this is the best way to channel it. So everything is kind of a combination of these two ways of thinking. And the kind of surveys and studies that he lists in here are fascinating, kind of like there was one study that always sticks out to me that judges, when they were sentencing people to parole, if they were hungry, were like 10 times more likely to deny people bail and stuff and deny people parole. So basically, whoever got looked at after lunch was like golden. And like these are like logical judges. They don't know that they're subconsciously being kind of influenced by this sort of a more emotional brain. And I don't know. If you like psychology, if you want to really wonk it out and actually maybe sleep well at night, because I've been reading it and then going to sleep. Great. This is a really, really fascinating book about just the way we think and also decision making and also truth, like being able to tell truth, how our brain kind of fools us into thinking that something that's obviously how people manipulate us. With media, it actually kind of was interesting about internet content and stuff, how I was applying the things in this book to thinking about how we're fed information and how we have this primal brain kind of putting assumptions to the forefront and how we process things. And if you kind of put something into that system 1 brain, like, oh yeah, all people with red hair ride bikes. If you somehow get that into your brain, then it's really hard to shake it because it's kind of hardwired at that point. So fascinating book, 100% endorse it. Check it out. Okay. I'm going to, on tour, read a bunch of books. I have 3 downloaded, or 2 downloaded right now, but I'll probably get more. A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie. You guys know I love Joe Abercrombie. And this seems like it might be a steampunk kind of book. He usually does fantasy, so I'm excited about this one. And I also got a book called The Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kreuger. And I don't know, somebody sold this as like a grown-up version of Airbender. So I was like, sign me up. It was an author online. I don't know. I pick a lot of new books up because of authors, so that's kind of fun. Anyway, those 2 books are on my list, and I have several others that I'm going to download and I will tell you about after my tour. Okay, let's start to get into questions. Let's do some really fast questions. Also, if you want me to answer a question on air, #felicitations, do it. Okay, Richard Gagnon asks, should an audiobook read by the original author be 100% faithful to the original book? I don't think it needs to be. If the author wants to rephrase a written word for a more natural dialogue, embellish what's written, or add material, that's fine. Hey, that's really awesome, Richard. I agree with you. I think there should be some liberties. Not that anyone would feel robbed if they didn't have the audio version, but I think when you read something out loud, like my new book, I practiced out loud because I did the same thing with my memoir. I want people to enjoy this as a performance piece, right? And so I want to perform it like a performer. So if it sounds really clunky in my mouth or I wrote it weird, it's not going to sound natural. And so I want everything to sound natural. So 100%, I rewrite my book for that. But if authors don't do that, I think if something's weird or wonky, go ahead. The audiobook for Embrace Your Weird is kind of odd in that it is a self-help book with a lot of interactive exercises. So essentially, if you get the audiobook of my book, you will definitely want to have a journal open the whole time because I will prompt you with exercises. And then there's like a 40-page PDF that you would want to print out to do alongside it because some of the exercises are kind of graphic based. They have like pictures or whatever to kind of do and along with the book. And I couldn't describe it verbally. So as we went along, I was like, hey, this really has to be a printout because I don't think people can understand this if I just describe it. As well, the audiobook kind of misses a lot of the elements of some of the graphics that I have, some of the funny ones that I included. So, I do think there's a kind of intimacy with the audiobook that I love that we're going on a journey together. So there's kind of an advantage to the audiobook of this new book. But then you don't have all the pretty illustrations and the funny ones that I really want people to color in. I included one illustration only, or two, I think, in the 40-page printout with the audiobook. And one of them is like a roided out unicorn because I love that visual so much. Thanks, Richard. Next question. Rocket Soup asks, hey, Rocket Soup. You have so many projects going on with writing, acting, and producing and mommy stuff. How do you stay organized? What's worked and not worked over the years? Well, let me just tell you, every app that I've ever downloaded to organize myself has failed miserably. All I do is I have a Post-it note or I have like a small tablet that I keep my to-do list on, and that's the only. And I also use stickies on my desktop. So I just create simple lists. So I have a sticky on my desktop of projects I'm working on, and it'll have the name of the project, like Embrace Your Weird. And then I'll have under it the next to-do list, which would be publicize the book before launch. That's like right there. And so every single project that I have currently kind of in rotation, I just have the name of it and the next step. I can't look at 5 steps ahead. I can just only look at the next step. And that makes everything kind of manageable for me. So I can kind of forget a project for a couple months and then I'll come back to it and I was like, oh, where did I go? Oh, I was in I wrote an outline and I didn't actually write that script. So let's get back in there and do that. So that's basically it. And then I have sort of a daily to-do list and I have a weekly to-do list. So I have the weekly on kind of a small tablet, like a 4x6 kind of tablet. And that's kind of like the priorities. And as I go throughout the day, I can jot more things, or like I have it by my bed because I love dumping things from my brain before I go to bed. It makes me, if I'm worrying about it, it needs to get out of my brain. So if I could just, lean over and write it down, that's very helpful to me. And then for the day, I have like a Post-it sticky that I just carry around on my purse, or, I put it on my wallet. I put it places I can't, my dashboard, places I can't forget it, because I literally will forget anything, including my own daughter. No, I don't forget her, but things I need to do for her, like, oh crap, I need to get her a dentist appointment. Anyway, so that's the only way. Like, I have downloaded every single organization app there is. I use Scrivener for a lot of my writing because I do like the way I can kind of cut it up into smaller pieces. That's a really cool program. But other than that, man, it is just multitasking all the time. And like I said, in November, December, I've got to cut back and just do work on one writing projects because it has to be done by the end of the year. And I'm kind of freaking out because right now there's not happening. But hey, it's fine. I'm not panicking yet. Thanks, Rocket Soup. Okay. Monica the Lioness. Love the podcast. Yay. I've gotten obsessed with Assassin's Creed after watching you play it. Yay. You mentioned part of why you enjoyed it was you love Greek mythology. Was there anything in particular that inspired that? Absolutely. And I think I have this in common with a lot of people. My parents got me Dollere's book of, I'm just trying to pronounce it, Dollere's Book of Greek Myths. It is a iconic book from, I think, the 1930s with the most beautiful illustrations ever, and a lot of the Greek myths summarized in them. By the way, now that I think about it, not appropriate for children to read about, incest and dads killing swans and things like that, but I don't care. It made me obsessed with it. The paintings are so beautiful, and I don't know, it just hooked me. I love folklore. I love fairy tales because of that one book, and I can't wait to get a copy for Calliope. I think she'll really love the pictures, and then when she starts reading, I'll have to I could just tweak it as I'm reading it to her, right? So it's just that one book. So if you have a kid in your life, and you don't think it'll be offensive for their parents, buy that book to them because you might just foster a love of learning and a love of reading and writing. Because I was obsessed with this book, y'all. I was kind of obsessed with I think it's Apollo. I kind of fell in love with him. Just that painting. Creepy, huh? All right. Let's see. One more question. Pavlov Igor. Oh, 2 more really fast. Okay. Pavlov Igor asks, hi, Felicia. Another non-parenting question. Sorry, it's a long one. Can you please tell us more about actor work in general? For example, if it's a TV show, do you get your lines only before the shoot of that episode starts? And how much time do you have to learn them? Can you add your own jokes or lines? Do you know a general story for your character for the season? Or is each episode a surprise for you? Okay, so that's how much time does it take to shoot one episode? Wow, there's a lot of questions about TV. All right. So yes, if you are an actor who is a regular on a show where you're in every single episode, your life is a little bit different. You can have conversations with the writers. You kind of know what will be happening a lot more in advance. You will get treatments. You will get outlines. You will kind of see where your character is going in like a month or so. So I think if you were like Misha Collins on Supernatural, you're going to know what's going on in general for a whole season. That is not the case for most recurring actors or guest actors. So even if you do multiple episodes a season, you basically get the script 2 to 3 days before you start shooting, and then you start just learning the lines. So it is completely new to you. Even if you're on the show for years, you just get the script and you just do your lines. You cannot really generally add your own jokes or lines to a script unless you're on a comedy where they allow you to do some improv. That's very rare. In TV, there's so much money at stake. They don't like people just making stuff up because there's 8 million people who have to approve every word. So, you just do what you do, and that's kind of the job of an actor. Take existing material and make it your own and make it come to life. It's easier when the writing is good, I will tell you that. The same thing with learning your lines. Like, I'm very fast at learning my lines. I have an app that helps read my lines back to me that I kind of use. There's a bunch of them, Line Learner app, and there's a bunch of other actor apps online that help kind of repeat your lines back to you. You can record your lines. I like to actually do my lines to my webcam and play it back to see if there's something that I really like that I'm doing in one take. I often go to coach with an acting coach when I get a job as well. So, you prepare as much as you can. Sometimes you just get a scene and you just have to learn it on the spot, and you can do that too. So it really varies. But in general, you just have a couple of days. But the great thing is you don't shoot it all at once. So you kind of have an outline of what scene goes on what day. It's called a day at a days and a schedule. So you'll see that on Tuesday, you're doing scene number 5. And on Monday, you're doing scene number 7. And so you can kind of like, oh, I'll learn that scene the night before. Or I'll learn all the scenes a little bit and then I'll study it the night before. So you don't have to know everything at once like a play. And that's why maybe doing plays is really good training for film acting because film actors who only do film are not really used to memorizing so much dialogue at once and keeping it all in their head. So, yeah. And generally, episodes shoot anywhere from 7 to 10 days. I think Supernatural is 8 days with like maybe sometimes 9. Eureka was 6. And comedies sometimes can be just 5. Multicam comedies just shoot on the night. They just shoot it live. And so that's kind of like the closest to a play that you can get. I've done a couple of those. They're very nerve-wracking, but it actually is really, the audience kind of fuels you in a way that's really fun. So, yeah. Well, thank you. I hope that is a little more educational about how acting works. And, sometimes people tape up lines in front of them. I mean, I've seen people do that. It's not the best, but hey, man, just work how you want to work. If they will let you get away with it, it's fine. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't tell them Felicia said don't learn your lines. Please learn your lines. Hire me back. Okay, last question. Greg the Whisperer asks. Greg P. says, is there a reality television show you could see yourself being a part of? Big Brother, Survivor, The Wall, American Ninja Warrior, Food Show Network, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Okay, listen. The first 3 were terrible. No, I'm not getting skinny for anything. I'm not going to climb a wall. I'm not going to do a push-up. Food Network, totally could see that. I mean, co-hosting, being a guest on Nailed It was like a highlight of last year. I guess if I had no baby, actually, I had the opportunity to do American Race. They wanted me and Ryan to audition, but I was pregnant at the time, and I didn't think it would be safe for me to travel pregnant. It was very, very not cool to travel while you're pregnant. So that eliminated that. There was like a YouTuber year. A bunch of my friends actually did it. It was really cool. So that was the only one I've ever been attempted to do. I would actually do Dancing with the Stars too, because I actually think it's beautiful and I love dancing. And I feel like given a little bit of training, I would get my butt into gear and it would like flex. And I would maybe look good in those crazy sequins. Actually, I'm loving this idea. I kind of wish I was famous enough to be on there. Except I don't want to dance with Spicer ever. Anyway, so yeah, that was the question. Hey guys, thanks for being along with me on this journey. I will try to update before I go on book tour next week. I hope to see a lot of you along the tour. And please, if you have not, if you can't come see me in person, please pre-order. You can order a signed book from any one of those people on the book tour list. Just call the store and say, hey, I would like to order a book for it to be sent, and please make it out to so-and-so. And almost always they will accommodate that. So, hey, grab a book the first week especially. That would be really helpful to me. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.